Hey there guys, how's it going? So I thought I'd come on here and actually show you what this thing can do. This is Wave Shaper by Melda Production Audio. This is a free plugin, and basically you can do lots of different things to a signal that you put through it. So the way I've got it set now, I've got it to break up and distort like a high gain tube amp. It doesn't behave exactly like a high gain tube amp, but it's an approximation, and I think I'm getting a pretty good results. So to get the amp sound you heard on the demo, I've got the dry wet knob at 100% wet. Otherwise, you'll get the dry DI sound if you have it anything below that. The input, I've got it kicked up to plus 17, almost like I'm kicking the front end of the amp with more gain. And then the output is down a bit because this thing can get pretty loud. And I'll just show you what it sounds like. Okay, pretty much sounds like an amp. So I'll take it back to the default setting. This is the sound of the dry DI. You know, totally basic. And I'll just turn things on and show you how it works. So this is Wave Shaper. This is the default setting. Let's take the output down a bit. If I press play, it's just a totally dry sound. But you can manipulate it by clicking on points here. So if I move this up like this, it creates a sort of clipping distortion. So you can hear a bit of overdrive coming in there. Kind of like I've kicked the input too hard. If I bring this down like this will create a harder compression or a harder clipping. Okay, that's starting to sound cool. So I'm going to need a cab impulse or some sort of cab simulation. So I'm using my Engel Pro 4x12. I always use this thing. See how that sounds? Starting to sound like an amp going through a cab. Okay, I'm going to need a bit more gain going through this thing. So I can create more distortion by bringing this thing over, putting some more points in to make it a little bit more unpredictable, like a tube amp. Again, this is just an emulation. It's not exactly how a tube amp reacts, but it'll sound a little bit better. So it's sounding a little bit better now. I need a bit more gain, so I'm going to kick this input up a fair bit. Oh, get the dry wet knob up too. Yeah, I'll kick that input up a bit. So yeah, we've got a bit more distortion going on. And now I'm going to do what I do with most demos before an amp. I'm going to put this Ignite Amp's Tyrant Screamer before the signal, just to kick it in with more gain, give it some tightness. Yeah, it's clipping a bit, so I need to control it a fair bit. So on the way in, I've got this sort of high pass EQ just to about 182, 200 to attenuate the low end coming off the guitar. So there's still some unwanted clipping. So that tone I've got right now is very, you know, lots of bass, lots of treble, lots of mids, very loud. So what I want to do really is control it even more with an EQ like you would on an amp. So I've got this EQ after the Wave Shaper as basically like a tone control, like the bass middle treble control on an amp, or an approximation of it. I'll just turn this off. You can hear the difference. That's more of like a old school sort of driven rock tone, whereas this just sounds a bit more metal, and it is quieter because I've taken a lot of the frequencies out, so it is a bit quieter. So that's sounding a lot more metal straight away. And then I'm going to put on some post EQ. For a mix, I always put post EQ on all my guitars. So this is like a rhythm guitar post EQ. So, and this is the finished product. This is the setting I used on the demo. So what's going on basically, I'm hitting it really hard with the input, so it's gaining out pretty severely, like a tube amp does, like a high gain tube amp does. And then it's hitting all these points. The signal is hitting all these points and distorting. And I've put in all these ups and downs like this to give it an uneven sort of tube amp character. And this big dip at the end is to sort of emulate power amp sag. A little bit, kind of works. I really like the sound of this, and I can't believe the results I've got, to be honest. It's a bit mad. So I'll just go over it again. This EQ is a high pass to control the low end of the guitar. The tube screamer is to control the low end as well, and to boost level and give it a nice colored boost. The Wave Shaper is the amp. The EQ is like a tone control on the amp, bass, middle, treble, that sort of thing. I've scooped it out a fair bit, to make it sound more metal. Then I've got Pulse, which is my cabinet simulation, my impulse response. And then Post EQ to get it mix ready. And that's about it. If you've got any questions, guys, just go below in the comments. I'm sure you've got a lot of questions because I don't understand it fully as well. But if you want to know more, I found a video on this by Russell Cottier. He has a really good YouTube channel that goes over production techniques and things like this. And he has a video on this and he explains everything way better than I have. So go have a look at that video. Okay, if you want to make your own high gain tube amp sounds, well, there it is. Alright guys, since you've made it this far, I just want to plug some of my stuff. I've got an album out called Bear the Mark. It's 11 tracks of pure metal fury. Click the link below to check it out, listen to it for free, and buy it if you want it. And if you want to hear some really heavy shit, go check out my side project, Nest of Scum. That album is completely free. Go download it and enjoy it. Thanks for watching guys, I really appreciate it. And subscribe if you want to see more metal related stuff. I'll be back sometime with a video on something else, so until then, ciao.